Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black VTF here at T3 Live with this week's market wrap up, which turns out to be almost the monthly wrap up. So, here's the good and the bad and the ugly as we come into the end of February. So, we had a nice rally here, and you can see this SPY 30 broadening formation very clear here. It's tight range here, higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, boom. Now, we come running up in here, and then today we back off just a touch. So, if we take a look at the monthly chart, because you always want to start at a monthly chart, especially when we have a new month coming up. To see kind of what we're up against as far as levels and signals and whatnot. So the good and the bad and the ugly is we got an inside month for the SPY, although the SPX, I believe, went to lower lows. But hammer time here. So the question is, are we going to be strong enough to hammer through and back up and try and take another shot up into here? Or did we use up a lot of our guns coming up the way we just have here? So if we take a look at the daily, here's some of the way this occurred. We got this rally coming up in here, and you can see here. Then we go inside day here, and that was going to be a real key area because anytime there's an inside day, that's an equilibrium. You want to know about being above that or below that. And so right in here, you'll see this. We rallied, dropped in off the inside day, gap down, comes back up, gap up, then start falling apart where people are like, it's the end of the world. And lo and behold, anytime you get the third lower low stop out, you can draw your triangle here. So you can see this broadening formation here, which I just showed you on the 30, which gives you the rally up into here, which is nice. The question is whether that's going to continue. So one of the things that gave us an indication that we were going to have some strength this month was if you look around, like when people just look at the SPY, that's a problem. You got to look at all the sectors and be like, look, if this thing's rolling over, are they all setting up that way? And that certainly wasn't the case, especially if you look at the utilities. And the utilities up until today, and this is why the good, the bad, and the ugly of it is nice and strong. Utilities were going straight up. You had the XLP doing the same thing, or at least hanging near the highs. Here, all-time highs in XLP. So what that shows us is that we have a rotation into defensive names. Now the question is, today they cut and run on this stuff, and so you're going to see bearish engulfing off the highs in the XLP. You saw the XLU getting a smack down here. Is it the end of the world? No, but we want to be aware of that. Is this just profit taking? And then as we come into March, and we're going to see market money continue to rotate back into it, or is that money going to go somewhere, or is this the beginning of money cutting and running, getting out of the market? So there's a lot of ifs questions coming along here. If we go back to QQQ, similar thing here, that third lower low triangle like this, and you can see how today we just ride right to it. Here's your triangle. If you go to your 60-minute Qs, you're going to see this. So how do we get out of here is the question. Like that. So do we drop back in triangle style all the way back, or do we form something up here to take a shot at it and take this out and expand? Because once again, like I said, if you look at the monthlies, there is a lot of monthly hammers out there, but a monthly chart, of course, can take a while to set up. Weeks are, the most good part of the month. So if we look at this thing here, you can see how the Qs took that big hit here. And so we do take that stuff out and rally back up. So we'll get to the internals of the Qs here in just a second, but just want you to see that. We do got a hammer forming here, albeit with another day to go. If you go to Dow Jones Diamonds is an inside month, too strong to go to the lower lows. So we always want to be aware of stuff like that, because when other things went to the lows, these were not so far. The question is who's going to lead us out of there, and I'll get to that in a second. If we go to small cappers, IWM, there's once again your hammer, and once again on your daily, same deal, comes down into this and then comes back up right into this line here, and you can see this higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high, and right there. So this triangle is completed. The question is, can we get through there and take out the hammer and then use this as support? And the reason you want to draw your lines like this and not completely horizontally is because as time goes on, you want to have that element of time. When you go horizontal, people don't leave stops at a horizontal line. They move them as time goes by, and so that's what you're going to see. As time goes by, as things start getting away from people, they start moving stuff up, trying to get their money back. So we'll keep an eye on that. Certainly all these monthly hammers, if they can go. And there's certainly going to be some key sectors that I'm going to get to in a second. To start off the year, believe it or not, commodities, XME, and I talked about this in the market wrap up a couple of weeks ago here, this inside week here that got the monthly hammer going. Gangbusters, not necessarily percentage-wise, not bad, considering that they opened the year here and then hammered and go back up. Gold got things going for a bit here, and now you can see once again, still on the monthly, still within this realm of walking down, and and running out a month. If we take a look at the GDX, GDX did what I talk about a lot, the reversal strategy, which is an inside bar countered with hammer or shooter the other way. There's a couple other variations, but you can see how powerful this can be when you keep an eye on this because it's a rejection of an equilibrium here. Let's get that smaller so you can see it. Right here, so inside bar countered with hammer, kapow. Right there, real nice. So the question is, have they played well what they're going to do? Once again, you can look at these weeklies here, and you'll see the triangles the same, that we're closing out the month right on the top. That can be a problem. And the reason is that once we start off as a new month, that if things start to tank, all 4 time frames will be down come Tuesday. So we'll see how this plays out, commodity-wise there. Certainly in the commodities, crude oil not going away as far as importance. And you can see here, just drifting death so far. However, no new lows in 2 weeks, no lowest lows of 2 weeks. And if you look at the daily, you're going to see this tighter formation here. We got the lower lows here. Now, what is this? The question is, what is this? We got a slight higher high today after these slight lower lows. So tighter consolidation here. Are we strong enough to try and take a shot up into there? Or is it just more of the same, lower highs and rolling back down? On the monthly chart here, slight lower lows, at least on the USO, unable to make any higher highs in 4 or 5 months here. So that would be the first indication there too. Can we make a higher high in the month in crude oil and get a few things going? And when you're looking at any tradable vehicles with so many different ETFs out there, then we can break it down to DWTI. DWTI stays inside month. This is a completely inside month, and so is SCO. And so still potential, a lot of fun in those things depending on what goes on there. If we look at the monthly of XLE, XLE goes inside month, and XLE, inside month calls the highs, inside month called this, and there was a nice rally there. So now we're an inside month for the XLE. If we go to the OIH also, so we want to see if these things can break out to the upside, and that could give us another leg to this rally if you get some more recovery out of that industry. And so over there, you've got Halliburton as an inside month. You got Chevron, which can also help the Dow Jones. You've got Baker Hughes with your Halliburton. You've got Amerada Hess as an inside month. You've got Helmerich Payne, which is going to be OIH, Noble Energy, and so plenty of those to keep an eye on with the underlier going forward. If we go back to the Qs for a second, and like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it is that we did have this nice rally off the lows. The question is, are we strong enough? You can see 1, 2, 3 lower highs in here. What's going to keep us going? Because if we looked at the big boys recently, in the Google, meh, it's like, all right, coming up in a resistance. Do we come off the lows? Sure, but how strong of a rally do you have there? And if you look at something like Facebook, a little better, but just walking back up into here, and nowhere near taking that out or that out, kind of a no man's land. And so that might not be helpful. And then if we look at one of the big sectors that we used to look to help out, IBB, and you can see IBB's been shuffling through the streets. People asking, what's the matter with you, boy? Doing nothing. Look at this. We can't get this thing off the mat. But you do have monthly hammer to try and come out of here. But so far, you can see this more feeble comparatively, and so if you look at the GILD, still these lower highs, and you got your Doji week. I mean, really, when the market was doing what it was doing this week, and you go Doji on me, Regeneron, you've got your Celgene, and but with anything else, we're going to be watching those monthly hammers. If we go to the financials, you got this weekly hammer too and trying to help, and you got the monthly hammer. And the monthly hammer confirmation is going to be a theme going forward because we want to see if these triangles back in. If you go to the 60 FAS, you're going to see this here too. The 60-minute FAS triangle looks like this. here. And so how do we get out of this? How do we take these highs out, or how do we take these lows out, or do we just chop around in here? And that could take a while. So the theme is going to be watching these triangles grow, and how many of these sectors can break their inside months and hammers to the upside, or do we start? Are these the top of these triangles, the top of the corrective action, and we start going back down? If we go to Goldman Sachs here, look at nice, really. Okay, so the good thing about Goldman Sachs is here's another Rev Strat setup, the inside week countered with hammer. So potentially, if Goldman Sachs wants to come off of there, and it happens after next week, then we'd have a green month too. So, but no hammer on the month over there. If we go to the trannies, trannies finally coming back, and that's a good thing. The question is, can they rally back with stronger oil, and who's going to do it? If we keep looking at the airlines, still, we do have your hammer month for American Airlines and stuff like that. Just haven't really been able to have the robust rally you would expect with oil down so much. And FedEx here going inside month, and so that certainly would be something to keep an eye on, and CSX. But with certainly the FedEx and anything that uses crude oil, you would expect that once the market firms up, there's no reason to believe these things can't start rallying. And if they aren't, we're going to pay attention to that. That's a problem. If we go back to Dow Jones Diamonds one more time here, on the inside, all we got is CAT is an inside month, and you got DuPont is an inside month, but nowhere near taking out this stuff in this real chop range, and most likely just middle consolidation range, stuff like that. So going forward, like I said, we've got hammers and inside months to keep an eye on, but we've also had a nice rally to get up to where we are. And so do we have enough power to just rip out of here come Monday, Tuesday morning? We're gonna that's yet to be seen. That certainly is yet to be seen, and we want to see how we can handle today's high. We open and come back in. Do we drop back into this range and start to consolidate again? What do we do? So we're going to be watching them USO underlier for sure. See how the trannies act versus that stuff. Can the IBB do absolutely anything at all? And that's what's going to do. So hope everybody had a good week. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Hope you are too. I'm Rob Smith in the Black VTF here at T3 Live with today's market wrap up.